Of the International. Hi, I'm Amy Chung. I'm on the board of the International Hotel Senior Housing, Inc. And today we're interviewing my dad, Burk Chung, who has a long history with this city and with our organization and with this building and neighborhood. So Dad, how did you first come to know this neighborhood?
Well, I think the first week of my arrival in San Francisco, then I become a resident, a tenant in this block, just across the street in 105 Kearny Street. I was a tenant up there on the first room. My family friends, actually it's their family there. The two children and the mother are living upstairs, but they have 5 rooms. So I rent one, and the other schoolmate rent another one, and we pay $10 a month for our rental. So while I'm going to UC Berkeley, I lived there. And I didn't have a car, because very few students have any car to go to college.
When was this, Dad?
It is 1949. I arrived late 48, but I entered the university in 49. So starting from there, then I become a commute student. So when I get up from here at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and outside is still dark and the street light is all on. But why I have to walk? I like to walk because you cannot wait for the bus. The bus does not assure you that how long, how many hours, minutes that you can go down to the East Bay Terminal. But depending on my 2 feet, I can walk how many minutes. I'm sure that I'll be there and to catch the F train to go to Berkeley.
What was the neighborhood like here in those days?
The big over here basically are mixed Chinese and Filipino ethnic people. In other words, all we call it immigrants. Most of us are here. So the business, quite a few, like a restaurant over here, and it is Suck Horse restaurant. That's the landlord business. The husband owned the basement of Hon Yun, the Han's Cafe, H-O-N. And at the time that I was here, the neighborhood starting from Columbus here, all the way down to Sutter Street. The Sutter Hotel is start to be so-called downtown, on the Booster Street. But the hotels, most of them are operated by Chinese, owned by the white people. Very few Chinese own property down here, except Yolanda Hotel. Yolanda Hotel now is the St. Mary's parking lot there. There was a Yolanda Hotel owned and run by Chinese because that time they have a aviation training as well as a airplane assembly line factory down in the peninsula. The Chinese people are working on that. The production of airplane and training of the flyers.
This was from World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This during and before the Pacific also the Japanese invasion in the end of the 1930s and the beginning of the 1940s. Those years, the Chinese are very much involved in working in the shipyard, working in the airplane assembly, and also training the Chinese young people join the subsea Hong Kong Doi, General Chinos, volunteer Air Force to help China. All those activities, the base and the workers and the students, they live here, work here, and use the hotel facilities as their dormitory, but not in our hotel, but all along the Kearny Street from here, Columbus, to Bush Street on Kearny. And on this block, these two blocks, the Columbus to here, Jackson, and to Washington Street, more resident people are Filipino people. And they are single people, most are single people. And the hotel, it costs very little. It costs about, if you are living by days or days rate, $2 a day. Wow. And if you rent it by week, it may cost you, about $5 or $7 or $10. But very few pay that high. See, most people are paying about $20, $30 a month. Because by $30, you can rent a one-bedroom apartment already. $25 to $30 per month. And okay, after I graduated from UC Berkeley in '51, then I worked a while for a newspaper and teaching schools and things like that. However, at that time, when I get married, my wedding reception is in our hotel basement. So I remember I sent out 800 invitation. I think at least have 600 or 700 people come. It cost $1.60 for a very good buffet. You like to have a roast beef or chicken or ham, that's your choice. But it's a full meal with drink and everything. And the owner is a family friend. My landlord. He was Mr. Chuck Ho, and he is the owner of the restaurant, but he doesn't own the building.
What was the name of the restaurant?
The restaurant Han's Cafe, Han Yuan Cafe, Han, because his name is Ho Xiu Han.
Oh, Xiu Han 嚟嘅。
Xiu Han Ba.
Okay.
Ho Xiu Han. So he used his own name for his restaurant, Han Yuan. And my family really have myself is so very much attached to this one block here. And then until in 1957, 58, then I have herb stores in Stockton Street between Washington and then Jackson. And it is, they call the Orange Lane. I have the herb store, Chinese herb store, ginseng herb store over there. And I have the Palm Hotel next to the I Hotel, the center one now, is the location of the St. Mary's School land. That place was my warehouse.
The basement.
The basement of my warehouse. And it cost me $60 a month. for rent. But anyway, upstairs, the mixed business like the Filipinos clubs, the poor palace, the
Billiards.
they play games down there, or barber shop, quite a few barber shops, and this restaurant like the New Cup corner at this across the street the corner. The name is a New Cup.
Kearney,
Mr. Fong.
Kearney and
Jackson.
Right.
The corner. It's my good friend's restaurant also. They also very good selling roast beef, dollar something. Anyway, the Chinese and Filipino people get along very well. See, because the upstairs of our hotel and Palm Hotel, they are all, most of us single people, and some of them are resident long term, but most of them are seasonal workers. See, they go out, work outside, work for the farm, or work for the household. A lot of Chinese and Filipinos still have the so-called houseboy profession. They live in somebody's house and become their chef or gardener or whatever, or driver, chauffeur and so on. But they always maintain a room in town. This is their town. So after the weekend, they come here for a couple of days and see a lot of people and so on.
Since
So
these
that-
are all immigrant people, right?
all immigrants.
Right, and you're saying that they're mostly single folks, so this was their social center. Is that right?
That's a social center. It's also, they do a lot of business. So business, for example, like you want to record somebody to work for your restaurant outside or whatever. There is a rose garden. They want somebody to do their farm work, and so they come here to recruit people. So this, in other words, it's a kind of employment agency. The contact is here. This is also the social center and also the business activities. Big business, they consider Grand Avenue, and this feel like Clay, Sacramento, Washington, Jackson. These few streets are the herb shop, the grocery stores, the meat market, and vegetable also, of course. Some, they call themselves import-export. And until now, the import-export almost extinguished and go out because the place is too narrow, too small, and a big container cannot come here. And so they all move out to south of Market or even out of the San Francisco, out of the town. But at that time, there's lots of import-export business center, the head office in Grand Avenue. So there are many Chinese business, the Chinese type, plus the gift shop for the tourists. But however, on these 2 blocks, especially the I Hotel, is now across the street. I remember it's a grocery store, and then you have a theater, and you have a couple of Jews sell luggage, sell different things on that side. On this side, the I Hotel side, the big business is on the restaurant, and then upstairs you may have 1 or 2 of coffee shops. But I remember at least 2 or 3 barber shops. Since the barber shop become a society place, they come here for yakety. They see old friends, they meet people, and those most are the Filipino people. But there are Chinese, like, remember the member of this high hotel committee, Mr. Chung?
Yeah. So true.
He lived up there also. He's older than my age. See, I was here in my 20 and 30, that kind of age. Now I'm 85, 86. But he must be about 90 something. Zhao Yui is 100 something, I think, now, if he's still alive. So those are the people. Zhao Yui never lived here, involved here.
He's on the committee, but
another kind of business. He's running. He is in restaurant and other kind of business. But anyway, that we do have quite a few Chinese live in the I Hotel and live in the Palm Hotel.
Well, tell me about the different hotels. I mean, do you remember these different places and what they were like? And
Oh, I don't remember the name. Also, they change.
oh, I see.
See, like Mr. Chen bought that hotel, right away they change his name, use his own name.
I see.
So I don't remember that one. But that is hotel. Many of these are, we call residential today. At that time, nobody have any
Distinct.
boundary defined. This is a residential hotel, this is a tourist hotel. No. Everyone you can go there, just rent for one day, and you can ask for, I want to stay for a week, or you can ask for long term, a year after year. Like I'm telling you that the houseboy workers and the farm workers, they keep this one room here so they don't have to move around. So every weekend they come here, not for that matter of living here, but that's the time they come to see their fellow village people, the hometown people, and uncle, nephew, or niece, you know. This is a meeting place in holidays and weekends. So most people, even the Chinese, like Bo Tong, and across the street, Hang Tong, for example, if they're upstairs, they have rooms. These are all occupied by their own members. I don't know the Manila people, they have that kind of system. But the Chinese, I belong to Bo Tong, they have about 10 rooms up there. Then I can maintain a room there. I pay $9 or $10. Then I have this for a long time. So when I go to work in Palo Alto, the millionaire's house, and then Saturday, Sunday, that's your day off, right? Come here, come back, then you have a place to live. See, if you pay $2 a day, 2 days you pay $4, right? Why don't you pay $10 for a month? You have your home in Chinatown, in Queen Street. See, that's the reason. See, now when this hotel was on the market, there are several active brokers. You have Kowai Banker, you have Dow Brothers, you have
Milton Myers.
Milton Myers, and also you have Sorensen too.
Schoenstein.
They're brokers. They are brokers at the time, and the price they ask about $800,000.
How long ago was this? What year do you remember?
That is about the time we bought the 120 Port Alice. 1970
1979, 78.
early 19 or mid 1970, and there are several people are interested, and
71.
71.
71, 72. Yeah, you're right.
So, but my interest at that time, interest in 101 Power Street, not here. So I did not touch it. However, later on, until there is a news of the eviction, then I know who is the owner. Otherwise, I do not know. I pay rent, but I don't know who owns or what. I just pay to the broker, pay the real estate agent, collect the rent. And then until one day, then you hear the news, says Mr. Bo Wong. Mr. Wong is the attorney from Stockton. He represents the Chung family. Maga, where? The Maga Hongyama. The Thailand. The name is Mahaguna. And actually his Chinese name is Chung, Sing Chung. Chung Lan San, 個仔係張卓儀。See, I know the father.
Where were they from originally?
They were Hokkien.
Oh,福建人.
They were Hokkien. So the guy got a family 嗰啲人。
Oh, you're kidding. I had no idea.
And the father was the president of Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Bangkok. So I know him while I was a student in Chongqing during the Japanese War. That time, I met the father. Then I have no relationship with them, just occasional. Mr. Chung, Mr. Chiang, just occasional, because Mr. Hall, Xiu Hon the owner, he was a representative from San Francisco. And Mr. Chiang, the Chamber of Commerce president of Thailand,
Bangkok.
was also a Chinese representative in Chongqing for the Chinese government to support the resistance of the Japanese war.
Yeah, the war effort.
The oligarchy was very much involved.
Right, the overseas Chinese had
Overseas
organizations
Chinese
to support China during the war effort.
This is a patriotic thing for every Chinese, see. And I was so happy that my father wanted me to help Mr. Hall. And then because I helped Mr. Hall, then the fellow overseas Chinese delegations, they meet. So that's what they never know me or remember Mr. Chung. I'm a college student only. But later on, I become the sole agent for Korean Red Ginseng. Then I meet his son, Jung Cheo-yi. They are the sole agent for Korean Red Ginseng in Thailand.
Wow, small world.
Yeah. And then I found out they make a lot of money because they had the monopoly of wine and liquor making of the country. So their resources is never exhausted. Lots and lots of money.
So they made liquor in
And they-
Thailand, is what they did?
St. Mary's bought from him.
No, I understand, but what was the business that Mahaguna was in? They made liquor?
Liquor,
No kidding.
yeah. The king appointed them. The emperor appointed them. They make it. They do it. They pay tax, of course. That's almost like a monopoly. But if you monopoly of liquor in the United States, I don't know how much money you make. But in that country, it's still quite a bit of money. See, in other words, they make money a decent way. It's not corrupted or like the gangsters. No, they are really respected businessmen. They all, of course, they invest in property, real estate, and other banking. Yeah, they can do any other thing. But
Do you know do you have any idea how they got involved in investing in buying the
No.
hotel?
that you have to say something related to Mr. Arthur Leong. Remember, we have meeting and we have Mr. Arthur Leong and Jung Chung's son come to the meeting in YMCA, talk about their idea, project, how to build this and that. Then we do not agree. We have to have involve whatever the city hall appoint us to look after the interests of the residents, the people from the eviction. That is why we drag on, right? We do not accept their ideas of how to build, correct? So that is why they, in other words, they meet the resistance. We talk. We have Mr. Arthur Leong come to the meeting. We talk terms, but never have a consensus. There are so many new approach, like one party is from Taiwan, Awarung, and that family want to make deposit and have ready for agreement to sign and things like that. Mayor Art Agnos even announced in the news, in the TV, that next year we're going to have a new building here. But it's not easy.
Was that Pan Magna? Was that the Pan
No,
Magna?
no. That's the Taiwan people.
I don't remember.
No, Taiwan people. But the failed is because the interests so conflict with each other. They only look for their interest, for the owner, for them. See? Then never mind about the benefit of the old tenants, the people they evicted. So the Citizens Advisory Committee that we are in, that we are all the time, now like this lady here, Linda, we always look for the first priority are the residents.
Let's back up a
The
little
people
bit.
evicted, then we have to come back here.
Baba, let's back up a little bit.
Uh,
How did you get involved with how was that committee formed? How did it get started?
How did it come? I do not know who advised Feinstein. I was appointed not because I am chairman of the St. Mary's School. St. Mary's is not related to this place at all.
At that
Nothing
time.
to do with this place.
At that time.
So that's why I am not 光州會館. I'm the 光州會館監事長. See, the chairman of the supervisory board of Guangzhou Association, which is one of the 6 companies of the Zhonghua Hui Guan. But I was not appointed by Guangzhou because there's no other Hui Guan people join in this committee, right? So the least, I believe, Zhao Yue is one of the people who make suggestion to. You give them a slate, candidates that let Feinstein point. Let she, the mayor, choose, Judge Low. Lilian Singh at that time is not judge yet. I think he is is it affirmative action that, not yet. Not yet, right? Yeah. But he was appointed a member, see. Another is the supervisor, Ariotto, appointed George Chin, Yim Pun Yan, was one of the members. Later on, he died. And in other words, in those days, who recommend all these people, including the Manila town people? They don't call Manila town at that time, but we know that all these areas, hundreds of Filipino people live here, and there are some old people, the elderly, were appointed in the original Feinstein appointees in the Citizens Advisory Committee. I think today, are you one of the original long time ago, or you joined in later?
No, Linda Wang was one of the original.
One of the original,
Yeah.
right? Is that right? And Henry Durr, I remember very clearly. He was there, and he still is. Just a very few survival. We are the survival. See, so many the elderly they pass away. See, and also transfer. Resign. Lillian don't come back, right? Lillian Singh don't come back, and Judge Low don't come back. See, so don't drop out. Dr. Low is one of the original, of course. He has been the long time member. Okay, but anyway, talking about the eviction, that because of that white guy, Mr. Wong, the attorney, it is all his idea. I don't believe the Chung family even pay attention to this little investment over here. See, they are real huge and big. Okay. Anyway, then how the St. Mary's come to the scene? It is because the earthquake, 1989, right? 89, then we have order from the Archdiocese that St. Mary's at 902 Stockton Street is one of those,
The building was not seismically sound. My understanding is the city changed the engineering standards for public places like schools after the Loma Prieta earthquake, and because that's an old building, it didn't meet the new engineering standards. So the
Yeah.
Archdiocese decided this is one of the buildings that they were going to sell.
yeah. Then you better look for somewhere to move.
Is that what they told
so
Father Daniel?
That I think that's the reason. And then at that time, it so happened that John Yi Ho Chin is just getting out of his colon cancer operation, and he's very desperate, and he's all for the school, so he is pushing. How can we find something that we get a place to build the school? So.
And you have to
Son.
remember, it's a Chinese base, mostly immigrant people who live in Chinatown. You can't move it outside of Chinatown. You'd lose your students. You'd lose your constituency.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy task.
That's why. So somebody gave the idea to Father Dan, and he is here for a few years. At that time, he's a lot of courage, so he have some connection about the I Hotel site. And he said he has some connection, communicate with the Chung family. All right. Then suddenly there's one day, I was not the chairman yet. See, I was chairman when John wanted to build this school. So he resigned from the school board. He said, Burk, you take over the board. I take the campaign for raising money.
To build St. Mary's.
Yeah, so he become the fundraiser on that side. Then he called a meeting at I think it's Lion Street, Mr. Zhang Yi Chin's home, at his home. And the first word I said, Father, you are the most courageous man to undertaking this job to develop the I Hotel site. And I have been there for 10 years, more than 10 years, 20 years, that kind of time that I haven't seen any successful conclusion yet. At one Feinstein, Jordan, Engel, is that 3 mayors already, right? And then there's no one successful to develop this place. You are very courageous. I will help you, but I don't know how, because no way. You have to raise money. I even don't think of the money problem that big at that time, because they are talking about $9 million. See? But now it's not. They are talking $19 million. This place, $19 million. Where you get the money? But they're still working. They're still working. But that's one problem. The biggest problem is political. See, the owner of the land and the idea of the committee, this committee have determined it have to be in favor of the residents, the people elected. If they nothing that way in favor of the elected people, no way you can get through. But he said, I must ask God's help. I will ask God's help. So he decided, let's go, do it. Worst come to worst, I will have someone to go over to see the owner. See, I think some of the member or the wife or somebody are real devoted Catholic. So they will ask the archdiocese to help them. So I think he and Dr. Colin Kwok make the trip and negotiate, then let the real owner, Mr. Chung Chang-yi, not the son, then he considered this half donation and half sell. You have to sell to have the title deed and everything to transfer. So that's why St. Mary's come to the scene of doing these things. So I think the rest of the thing that we all know, you know, and Linda also know, you get all the meeting every time now. Even today, you still have so busy and working hard in this project. I admire you. I really admire you. You don't give up. Very good. See? And so we finally have this, the first thing built here at corner. But the next door, I believe, they're coming along. We have, including the pledge, that somebody pledged, like Sinclair Louis pledged $500,000 for matching fund. All this together, we have reaching about $12 million now. But still, you have to work for another $7 million to finish the job. Now you have to up to the main floor now, the cement down there, that's all done. Including the parking lot belong to the archdiocese. I believe the archdiocese want to get rid of it. That you, St. Mary's School, you take care of it. Give me back the money. They want our money and give you the property. So that is the situation now. See, but we're still working, and I'm sorry that. Namely, I am the chairman of board of the language school, but I have my age and my connection is no good. Dr. Kwok is the one. He works very hard, and he gets somewhere. This year he make at least, he make, I think, get 2 pledge of $500,000 each. See, the big one. Small one, I don't know. There are lots of names, 100,000, that kind. But the big one, we have two this year for $1 million. 5 here, 5 here, so all $1 million.
Well, hopefully, we'll see the school built soon.
Uh,
I think for me, one of the younger generation, I think the amazing thing was how people came together to get this project done.
yeah.
Without everybody's cooperation and understanding that we have to do it together, this would never have happened.
I believe if it's really, like Father Dan said, with God's help, that maybe we really with God's help. And now come a good thing is the city college over there. So this is such a wonderful place now. We never think of that. Do we ever imagine when we have the committee what it's going to be? I have no idea. I don't think anybody in the committee have any idea what it's going to be. A building like this, so beautiful. I never dreamed that.
And we're lucky because since it was built, these great young people have come. People with vision, people with energy, people with an understanding of what they want to see for the future of this community too. So I think we're very lucky. Thanks, Dad.
So it's a troubled place become the best spot in town, you know? Yeah. Okay? And he have no time